they become tornadic, it's going to be a long afternoon.
We've been talking about it all day, and we've been seeing the conditions out there, and we feared sunshine. You don't usually fear sunshine because that actually helps heat up the atmosphere and get it really unstable, and that's when that's that powder keg. And again, like you said, once it goes, it goes. A little tiny speck on the radar can end up being a supercellular thunderstorm, and a supercellular thunderstorm is one that will produce a tornado.
We have Mike McClanahan, our reporter here from CBS 42. Mike, what can you tell us? You're in Hansville right now?
That's right, Mark. I'm in Hansville right now. There's still a number of down power lines, thousands of people without power here in Coleman County. A lot of trees down, some blocking area roads. I'm near County Road 91.
I am concerned about the fact that that is a tornado. You don't get it much more painted in a picture than that right there on a radar. That is our tornado right there. I mean, that's it. It's as good as it gets. So you know where it is now. It's just to the south and east of Arley. This is tracking towards the northeast at 50 miles per hour. And that right there, it's almost like it's not real. That to me, you just don't get radar images that clear very often.
Mark, we're getting reports in from the National Weather Service that there has been structural damage reported out of the cell that's moving through Coleman back in Walker County near Crane Hill. So we are getting damage reports. So if you're in Coleman County and you're going to be hit by the storm, make sure you're taking shelter immediately.
All right, here's what we're going to do with these storms today. Every one of these is considered on the ground now. We've got to that point with these. So when we do call out for a tornado warning, think of it as on the ground, not just radar indicated, not something that's a low-hanging cloud. Consider it on the ground. That's likely what we're going to be dealing with all throughout the course of the day today.
Hunker down. You're going to get through this. Hunker down. Protect yourself. Wrap up in blankets, pillows, and a helmet if you can. Don't go looking for this because this storm is moving fast at 55 miles an hour. You don't have much time. Don't worry about your belongings. Property is not important right now. Get yourself safe. Get your family safe.
This is just south of 18, just to the east of 43
What's up,
right
Cindy?
now,
You?
and
How
it
are
is
you?
moving very quickly. Oakman, also, please get to your safe place, as there is
I
going to be a
just woke
tornado, the confirmed tornado, bearing down on you very shortly. So Barry, also Oakman, we're getting reports of a very strong tornado. Also Parrish, you're in the line of the storm, and then eventually Cordova. So we're looking far out. Give you guys a little bit of time, and if you're in the line of these storms, just like Ted just said, please get to your safe place.
You've got a visual on the tornado, that's right?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. Now, let me tell you what's just happened. I'm watching it here, and I got a pretty good vantage point. It's lifted a little bit.
How large?
It's about a quarter of a mile wide here. Tremendous lightning again, and the inflow's coming in. It's a classic tornado, Mark, and if you are anywhere around this thing at the moment, you've got to get to a place of safety immediately right here on Highway 78. Now there's a very large hail beginning to fall.
There's the hail. What size are we looking at on this, David?
Here we go. We got it up here.
All right, we got your shot. There's a tornado.
Live tornado on the ground.
Pop that up real quick. Let's go ahead. It's on the Skype computer. Look at that. That is a big tornado. All right, David.
It is.
All right, you're moving. If you'll lock down on that tornado, there it is, folks. That is a violent tornado. That is a large tornado, and it is now headed towards Cordova. David, you're in a spot that's safe. I have faith that you're in the right spot, but that is a very large tornado, and this is classic looking right on the southwest flank. Okay, there it is. It's on the ground.
That's a tornado on the
It's
ground.
on the ground.
You can see the rotation.
Okay, Tuscaloosa, this is becoming a large tornado. It is on the ground. It is now moving very quickly towards the north and east. You are watching live footage of this tornado on the ground headed towards the city of Tuscaloosa. This is a tornado emergency. Take cover immediately. This tornado will be arriving in the city of Tuscaloosa within the next minute or two. It's going through stages. You can see it's starting to wrap up and then it starts to fall apart at times. Don't be misled by that. These things can really start to ramp up. As a matter of fact, look at that. That's another little vortice trying to start there. This is the parent tornado.
Look at that tornado. Look at the velocity. You can see the debris.
Okay, this is our debris field. Look at this. Okay, I'm going to step over to this side. Look at this tornado. Live right now. This is what's happening. It is headed towards the city of Tuscaloosa. Again, I can't emphasize enough, from Skyland Boulevard northward, this is going to be a violent tornado. We're talking very dangerous, very high winds, structural damage that could be extensive. This could cause not only the damage for structure, but a loss of life. That's why I want you in a safe spot right now. Folks, you're watching the tornado live on TV right now on CBS 42 that is headed towards the city of Tuscaloosa. This is looking right into it. This is not a rain-wrapped tornado. This is a rare supercellular mesocyclone. This is a tornado that is going to be doing a lot of damage. Look at the debris right here. See that wrapping back around? That is what's getting churned up by this tornado. My gosh, look at the size of this tornado. This is a massive, massive tornado, folks. Please take cover immediately.
Ballot harvesting, federal funding for abortion, and climate change related provisions in the coronavirus bill. Says now she's delaying approving an extension to the Paycheck Protection Program, which would give struggling small businesses loans to keep their employees on payroll. So the Trump camp torched Pelosi and showed the video of her standing in front of her $24,000 refrigerators stocked full of gourmet ice cream that goes for $13 a pint while Americans are struggling to get by. And I would ask, what kind of ice cream is that? Has it probably got human DNA in it? And you never know about these people. They could be talking in code and not even realizing what it looks like to the public because they're just trying to get messages out. It's very creepy. They're creepy. And Rob Max says Pelosi is a non-essential government worker. It's got 297 upvotes. Johnny Deadline says non-essential human being too. And Jane Schultz said, and even more stupid than I thought she was. Can't she see how really snobbish and holier than thou this is? Talk about being out of touch. And Rico Cat 1 says, malignancy, Pelosi will help elect a lot of Republicans if we chip in enough money so ads like this can be aired. Trump 2020. So there she is with her cashmere sweater tied around her neck. We don't know what all this means, but the orange sweater. But they're sending code, and I don't even think there's a Nancy Pelosi in there. There's like a host of demonic entities. Now, this is interesting. It says acting DNI Richard Grinnell tells Adam Schiff to pound sand in response to his demand for oversight of personal changes. So good. Now they're starting to tell this Nazi to get out of here with his Stasi, commie, underground, skiff protected secret trials where the person who's on trial doesn't get a chance to defend themselves. They only want to hear witnesses that have something damaging to say, and they accept anybody. You can be a friend of a friend of a friend who overheard somebody. I mean, this is insane. This is what they did during Nazi Germany. But what comes after this? What comes after this is pulling you out of your home and saying you're guilty and executing you. No trial. So what they did to President Trump was on full display for everyone to see all throughout history. And anybody that supported this crap is going to have egg all over their face. And now comes the time. And look at this guy. He looks like he's about ready to shapeshift right in this picture. It looks like he's halfway shapeshifting right now. So I'm not going to get into this story, but I did want to point out that the latest CDC COVID-19 numbers make the doom and gloom cult look like complete idiots. And that's what they've wanted to do. They've wanted to jack up the numbers any way they can because it's not doing what it's supposed to do. We're supposed to all be sick and panicked and all this stuff is supposed to be happening. That's not. It's because the white hats are 5 steps ahead of them every minute of every day. And when Q says we see all, we hear all, they mean it. So these two stories right here really work together in my mind. You've got U.S. health regulators approve home testing kit for coronavirus on the right. And then you've got breaking. Missouri files lawsuit against China for lying to the world and causing devastating loss of life and economic suffering. So what's happening is people are waking up to the fact that this whole thing was caused by China and blown out of proportion by the mainstream media and the Democrats and some Republicans like Mittens and people like that, rhinos, fakes. And so all the people who have been blowing it out of proportion, and I think definitely these governors who have been taking advantage of it and going full-blown Nazi are going to have to answer. So the lawsuit is it's going to set a precedent. If they win, if this lawsuit goes through, then I think other states are going to follow, because people have really had what's happening knock at their door. And it's kind of interesting the way this thing is unfolding, because as someone who made a lot of really hard realizations real fast, these people I can see that a lot of people are not even ready for any of this information. They can't even begin to imagine people doing things like these creatures are doing. So this is like a knock at the door, There's a lawsuit coming up against China for lying to the world and causing devastating loss of life. Why? And economic suffering. Why? Because everybody in America this has really been a soft knock at everybody's door who's not awake, because it's come to your house and it's affecting you. And I saw when I went out, I know a lot of Democrats are wearing full-on gear. They're wearing masks around. They're observing the president's They're observing the president's rules. And some of these people, I live in Florida, so some of these people came here because they were sick. So I'm sure even Democrats, Republicans, whoever, there are people that are afraid of their health. They don't know what to think. And so they're going to take the protection. And now we've got a home testing kit for the coronavirus. That's going to drive them nuts. They're going to come out with all kinds of things about this coronavirus home testing kit. And let me just put on my Karnak hat and see if I can see into the future and see what they're going to do. Oh, yeah, they're going to accuse the coronavirus testing kit of doing what their coronavirus testing kits do, giving people coronavirus, or being inaccurate. That they're probably going to try inaccurate first, and as they get more and more desperate, they're going to try to accuse the health regulators and these people of having faulty or actual test kits that are infecting people, because that's what they're doing. And that's what they always do. They always accuse people of doing what they're doing. They're not going to change. These people are not going to change. So yeah, Biden says he would pick the moose as his vice president in a heartbeat, because we've never had a moose for a president, you know, or a vice president. It'll be the first time. It'll be a double whammy. First time we've had a moose as a vice president. First time we've had a moose as a president, because Biden's not long for it. And there's no way this moose, we'll have World War III before that happens. We'll have all out war before that happens. So over here on the right, we've got Adam Schiff, one of the most evil and disgusting human beings. And Susan Rice knows she's in the crosshairs. And it's from former U.S. Attorney Joe diGenova, who I love Joe diGenova. I've been watching Joe for a long time, and his wife, Victoria Tensing. And they are a legal eagle couple, and they've been legal commentaries or commentors or whatever you want to call it. I guess they call them contributors for all different kinds of like Court TV and Headline News and different networks that deal in live trials and trials. And they've been doing this for a long time, these legal analyses. And so Joe is doing one of his and actually gets into the character of Adam Schiff.
Well, Adam Schiff is afraid of honesty. Remember, from the beginning of this entire charade, he has been lying to the American people from the perch of either his ranking minority member on the Intelligence Committee when the Republicans were in charge, or as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. And what he has done is consistent with the conduct of Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and McCain. He has put out literally, this is very important to understand, false information, knowing that it was false. You will recall the famous incidents in which Nunes put out a report, which has now proven to be 100% correct about illegal conduct by FBI and CIA officials, and that Schiff refuted that publicly with statements saying that everything that Nunes put out was false, knowing all along that everything that Nunes was saying was true. I know this is Kafkaesque, and saying it almost sounds unbelievable, but what Schiff is afraid of is that more people inside the intelligence community who are going to be displaced by Grenell are going to be forced to, or may have already spoken with John Durham. What Schiff is doing is he's preparing help for potential defendants for jury pools in the District of Columbia. In other words, he's trying to dirty up jury pools to make them think that whatever Durham is going to do is politically motivated. So we have a rather bizarre, horrible dance going on. Adam Schiff is really one of the most evil and disgusting human beings ever put on the face of the earth.
Now, I think this interview suggests military tribunals, because when he's talking about our court system in D.C. being so polluted that Adam Schiff is trying to taint the jury in D.C. right now to his favor. And trust me when I tell you he's doing this through threat and innuendo and all manner. He probably has all kinds of dirt on everybody. So, and DC, I was born in DC. I grew up in that political atmosphere, which is, I was kind of became political as a result of that, but I really, at some point, didn't like getting into arguments with people about it. And I'm sure that was the plan, for us to lose interest in politics because people were arguing. But Joe suggests there's multiple levels of indictments and trials here. And he also suggested that when they talked about DC and it being a corrupt place to have a trial, for somebody like Adam Schiff, he did open the door to the idea that it may go through and Adam Schiff may not be held accountable. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could happen, and that may be the catalyst for going with military tribunals. Here's the way my mind is working. These smaller charges, like Comey. Remember when Comey, they didn't file charges for the perjury and all of that? Because the perjury, that's a waste of everybody's time. The penalties for perjury are not that great. And he has committed such a string of hideous offenses that are so much more serious than that. And there's so many of them. It's like a giant smorgasbord. Why waste time with this little crumb of food when there's a giant smorgasbord waiting over at the other table of all of the best food? You don't want to mess around with the small stuff. You go over to where all the big charges is. So they're just, they're finding actually a way to use it to their advantage. And if in fact Adam Schiff is successful in tainting a jury in Washington, D.C., rest assured it's all captured. All of this is captured. The cover-up is what gets you. Dave says that all the time. It's so true. Dave from the X22 report. He says that all the time. It's not the crime. It's the cover-up that gets you. So now the White Hats have a prime opportunity to capture the cover-up. And you can bet they'll have all of it. Even that skiff. I'll bet that skiff was not immune from surveillance, where they had their Stasi trial, because they probably talked about a lot of stuff in there that they didn't want anybody to hear. So I think what we have is multiple levels of indictments. And if somebody does manage to taint a jury, it's going to be just more crimes, because it'll all be documented, and that trial, will be used to say, hey, we need an international military tribunal, or we need a special counsel and a special court in a place far away from DC. So, there's all different kinds of ways that it can be used. If in fact, what Joe DeGenova says about Adam Schiff trying to taint the jury, on the off chance that he does, it's not going to matter. This guy's.
Hey guys, Nick DiPaolo. I just wanted to drop you a note, thanking you so much for supporting the show in these tough times. I know, everybody's feeling this coronavirus effect, and but you guys have come through with flying colors, supporting the show, whether it's a one-time contribution at nickdip.com, whether it's signing up for patreon.com, becoming a monthly subscriber, or sponsoring the show if you have a business, which isn't shuttered right now. We can't tell you how much it means to us. And one thing that stays steady even through a pandemic is the politics. The media has just revved it up even more against Trump, saying he's not handling this right, blah, 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 blaming him for everything, which is all a crock of shit, right? You got to be tired of left-leaning news. It's all that's on TV, really, other than Fox News. So if you need a break from that, want to have a few laughs, and you believe in free speech like I do, tune in to the Nick DiPaolo podcast. Go to nickdip.com. You can watch it on YouTube, and when you do watch it on YouTube, click that button below and become a subscriber. That makes my numbers goes up. It makes sponsors want to advertise on the show, and we can continue this. You guys have been tremendous through this. I can't thank you enough. All right, that's all I wanted to say. So now I'd like you to enjoy the show. So enjoy. Welcome to the show on a Tuesday. How are you, folks? Tuesday from Georgia. And, loving it. Sunny, dry, beautiful. Talking to people up in Massachusetts. It's snowing here. Can't Can't believe I've become that guy. Oh, yeah, you fucking guys are idiots. But what's happening? Welcome to the big show. Don't forget, I'm off next week, but we will run the best of or some interviews, some, interesting, whatever, funny shit to keep your mind occupied during Corona. People are getting itchy to get out. I don't know when. Some comedy clubs are never coming back, I heard already. I don't know how they're making that prediction, but somebody's explaining small business to me, and glad I tell jokes for a living, I'll tell you. That's what attracted me to comedy in the first place. I remember Jay Leno saying in an article like 30 years ago, love comedy, I show up, tell joke, get check. That's that. Because I don't know how to handle money. I don't understand it. I listen to these briefings, and Steve Mnuchin, who's the most powerful guy right now in the Trump administration, trying to organize. Are you shitting me? I can't balance a checkbook. And mamma mia. But small businesses, I know enough. I've been around comedy clubs long enough to sit in the office with an owner and see, you got to pay the ice guy. You got to pay the food guy. They have all these creditors, thousands. We got to pay the rent. And, they're never more than a month or two ahead as far as bringing money in. And then they're going to pay the staff and again, sell weed, everybody. Oh, that's right. That's legalized too. So I don't know how the fuck that's, anyways, it's taken a toll on people mentally, I guess, already, just like it will if the economy crashes. But here's a great example. Who do I hate more than anybody? It's feminists. Not that I hate feminism. It had a place, women should get paid for doing equal work or whatever. I agree with all that. But there's it is warped the brains of some women to the point where they just hate men. Do I hear a leaf blower? Okay, it's me. Check out this. People say liberalism is a mental illness. Check out this feminist and how fucking brainwashed she is that men are to blame for everything, including Corona. Anytime, Rise of the Sun.
I am having a hard time seeing what's happening. It's like the layers of denial are coming off. The Band-Aid is coming off, and I can't ignore this. Like, it's okay. Because it's not. I don't know how so many of the masculine
here it comes.
structures can actually stand by and watch this happen.
It's our fault. It's men's fault.
How can the men
Look at this.
and the people and the structures that are supposed to be protecting us stand by and watch this happen?
Oh, pause.
It's
You're a feminist, but you're waiting for a man's help? How unfeminist of you. This is all men's fault. Meanwhile, you got Dr. Birx, who's on TV every day helping saving the world. We get Kizmia, the black racist woman who works for the NIH. Go ahead. I wonder what happened to this girl.
like people laugh at me and say that it's not rape, and it is.
Raping me! This is rape! This is rape! This is rape!
Go in for food. Like, yeah, it's a private business, and like, to me, that supports rape culture.
What? Thank God your barber's closed.
Insane. It's insane. Like,
You're
I feel
insane.
like I am losing my fucking mind.
You think
Like,
that
and how is anyone else just holding it together? How the fuck are you holding it together?
Watch out, because I'm...
Holding it together. What the fuck? What the fuck? This is horrible. How is someone out? I've been holding it together and I can't anymore.
you let it go a long time ago,
This is
crazy.
crazy.
You're fucking nuts.
This is fucking crazy.
You fucking whore.
And all I can think about is I want to feel someone's skin on mine. I want to feel
Well,
a
Paul, you're
strong
fucking-
body next to me. I want to feel protected through this, and I don't feel protected. Not by me.
Pause. Wow, she doesn't feel protected. This is You understand? She's like a militant feminist, and she's saying just the opposite. Looking for somebody strong to protect her and shit. First of all, get out of your car. Fucking nut. Go ahead.
I want to feel the man. I want to feel the man here. Where are the fucking men?
You need to
Standing
shut
by
the
and
fuck
wearing masks and letting this happen.
Men are letting this happen. Whoa!
Raping me. This is rape. This is rape. This is rape.
Enough. That's enough. She goes on for 8 minutes. You don't believe liberalism's a mental illness. Oh, she's just a outlier. Not all people are bullshit. She's a fucking blaming this whole thing. Men aren't protecting her. Call Hillary. Call Rosie O'Donnell. Call Ellen. You fucking skinhead. Disgusting. This should be a clip on the show, by the way, that they put up. Make a note, Raz. Oh my God. Do you see how ingrained it is? She is a victim to the 10th power. There's a lot of strong women out there. Like I said, Dr. Burks is out there handling this shit. And even Kismika, who I hate, she's, a whitey hater, but she's out there doing her science. Probably cheated off somebody. Probably a Chinese person. That would be ironic. Speaking of strong women, Michelle Obama, as you know, she was a strong safety for the Broncos in the early 2000s. She led the league in tackles one year. Had a neck on her like a pit bull. Doesn't like white people either. Just my opinion. Big smile. You don't fool me. Anyways, you know who likes her? Joe Biden. If Joe Biden likes you, that might have been a compliment 40 years ago. But Joe Biden, you know what he says? Thinking about putting Michelle on the ticket. He says, I'd take her in a heartbeat. As the vice president. Let's, here he is.
When you think of Pittsburgh, what do you think of?
The
I spent a
Steelers.
lot of time in Pittsburgh too, as you probably know.
Yes, I played for the Steelers in the 90s,
but I
70s.
like it a lot.
Look at it.
I
love
as I
Hawaii.
said, they're the people I grew up with. They're
Look at
the
those mountains.
middle class, working class folks who bust their neck and
I like to bust your neck in three
did
places.
well, but went through some really tough times.
Where are you in naming that
What are we
running mate?
doing?
And will you
What's
commit
going on
that
right
that
now?
person would be a woman of color?
No, I'll commit to be a woman because I think it's very important that that my administration look like the public, look like the nation, and there will be. I committed there will be a woman of color on the Supreme Court. Doesn't mean there won't be a vice president.
All right. Can you imagine? Not even looking at merit. Not even looking at merit. He's going to put a woman of color. I don't care if she's qualified or not. Yeah, Wendy Williams. She's free. Why don't you throw her on there? Now I got to worry about fucking Oprah. I got to worry about Janet Jackson. I got to worry about Lizzo.
As well, in terms of who to pick, we've just beginning the process. We shortly be announcing the committee I've named to review this and to begin to look through the backgrounds of the various potential nominees, and that's just getting underway.
I've heard some speculation about Michelle Obama as vice president. If she said to you she'd be willing to be your running mate, would you ask her?
Oh, I'd take her in a heartbeat. She's brilliant. She
real
knows
genius.
the way around. She is a really fine
Knows the
woman.
way around. The kitchen? What? The fuck God. He didn't even think about it. I'd take her. What else could he say? What? Can you imagine asking a white politician that running for Brett? Nah. I don't really like anybody. I don't like girls who have shoulders wider than mine and might have a cock.
You need to shut the fuck up.
Please.
No, they're ignorant. That's ignorant.
I'd take her a heartbeat. Imagine a Biden-Obama ticket, having a Biden-Obama, as opposed to Obama-Biden. Aye. I'm still saying this guy will never be the nominee come November. It won't be. It's going to be, who's it going to be? Sherry Shepherd from The View. Somebody like that's got some juice, got some pull. Who's the fat black woman comic who I like? Begins with an M, Raz. Nothing? Monique! You got it. Come on, you studied African American studies. Isn't there a whole fucking semester to come on?
Well, just so precious.
Yes! Throw Precious on the ticket. The ticket will go like this. I like Monique. I walked into Caroline's one night and she was up there ripping it, man. I went in the green room and talked to her. It fucking makes me laugh. A lot of funny people out there. Anyways, Michelle Obama's not one of them, and I don't think she'd want to work with Biden. I know, Barack came out and endorsed him, but he's sitting at the kitchen table. Michelle goes, I work with this guy. He's crazy. He's a shithouse rat. Anyways, on to Corona. Donald Trump, that would be the president of the United States, says he'll temporarily suspend immigration to the United States while the Chinese coronavirus crisis continues to claim American lives. 80%, they did a poll, 80% of the Americans think this is a good idea. What happened to all you fucking borderless people? We shouldn't have borders in the world and open the gates, let everyone. What happened? Oh, a little thing called the virus brought you around, huh? I'm waiting for, I guarantee you, Raz, the next couple of days, there'll be people calling him racist and shit and whatever. But they can't argue with the numbers. They did it during the Depression, actually. They shut down immigration during the Depression, and it worked. It got a lot of people. You can't be competing for jobs when, we're this close to the Great Depression. So let's see if he gets any blowback from Pelosi, and if they don't give him shit, then they're hypocrites, because they always do. And he's a white supremacist. On Monday evening, Trump said he'll pause all immigration to the U.S., a moratorium that has not been enacted for 40 years, while at least 22 million Americans are unemployed due to mandatory business closures by state governments. And he says, Trump, in light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens, I'll be signing an executive order. It's the perfect order. So you saw it. It's a perfect order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. I think even people agree with it. I said,
build that wall, build that wall, build that wall, build that wall.
Now I'm doing puppets. Trump's upcoming executive order to pause immigration is widely supported by American voters. In an Ipsos poll related this month, found that nearly 8 in 10 Americans, about 79%, want a full halt to immigration. Boy, they've changed their tune, huh? Likewise, the latest Pew Research Center survey reveals that more than 80% of American adults call mass migration to the U.S. a threat. During the Great Depression, for instance, mass unemployment was eased by major cuts to legal immigration levels that stayed below 100,000 annual emissions for nearly 15 years, from 1931 to 1945. Trump's authority over immigration, like all other presidents, is vast and broad. Speaking of broad, what happened to Stormy Daniels? Right now, she's on stage in Tennessee. Some guy spraying her with Schlitz. In June 2018, the U.S. Supreme Court reaffirmed the president's control over legal immigration in Trump versus Hawaii. What happened to that little Hawaiian hateful congressman that hates Trump? The very manly one? What the fuck was her name? Poi? Pineapple Poi? In Trump versus Hawaii, the court stated the president has extraordinarily broad discretion to admit or exclude foreign nationals from the United States when they believe doing so is in the national. It's always in the national interest. Ask poor black and brown people who have to compete with these people that pour in. Not just that, the N1 visas, all the Indians and Asians that, come over here. Companies hire them for cheap, and the poor people that they fire have to train them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? But here's why this is excuse me. Here's why there's a lot of controversy right now with governors opening up, wanting America back to work, Trump pushing for that. Why is it controversial? Because WHO, as we call them, World Health Organization, the head of it warns worst of virus is still ahead of us. You got to be kidding.
Who the fuck are you? Are you writing a book? Who the fuck are you?
You know who it is? It's General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. There he is. He's the one that works in cahoots with China to hide this thing. This guy's fucking
Nick
words.
Daniels in the house.
He didn't specify why he believes the outbreak that has affected some 2.5 million people, killed over 166 large, could get worse. He and others, however, have previously pointed to the likely future spread of the illness through Africa,
Hit pause.
where health systems are far less developed. Oh, why you?
Hit pause. This needs to be on the screen. You are correct, sir.
Is that? They're still shitting in holes over there, in coffee cans. But, you know, Kizmika would tell you otherwise. We should model what they're doing. Trust us, the worst is yet ahead of us. We don't trust you, Tedros. We've already caught you lying. And as we speak, they're digging into you in China, playing footsie this whole time. You helped them hide it when this shit started. And there's a petition right now, over 1 million signatures to get rid of this guy as the World Health Organization. Kind of looks like me in about 20 years. Get the same shirt on, glasses. Anyway, some Asian and European governments have gradually eased or started relaxing the lockdown measures like quarantine, school, and business closures and restrictions on public gatherings, citing a decline in the growth of COVID-19, the Chinese virus. Tedros and his agency have been on the defensive after Trump took them to the fucking cleaners. Trump of the United States, the World Health Organization's biggest single donor last week, ordered a halt to U.S. funding for the agency, alleging that it botched the early response to the outbreak, which is true. They're researching it right now. Not just us, not just Trump pissed at this guy. The whole world's pissed at this guy. But, you know, it's hard to fire him. Tedros said there is no secret in the World Health Organization because keeping things confidential, a secret is dangerous. It's a health. What a fucking, oh my God.
You're lying. And you're a piece of shit.
Tedros said U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention staffers have been seconded to work with his agency, suggesting that was a sign of the World Health Organization's transparency. He said having CDC staff at WHO means there is nothing hidden from the U.S. from day one. You're just a fucking liar. The last 2 weeks they've been digging into this. Just lying to the world. Our CDC colleagues also know that we give information immediately to anyone. In one of his starkest comparisons yet, the UN Health Agency chief also alluded to the so-called Spanish flu more than a century ago, saying that coronavirus has a very dangerous combination. It's a dangerous combination. Like the 1918 flu that killed up to 100 million people. And if you were in charge, it would have been 200 million, you dope. Tedros called the illness public enemy number one. I disagree with that. Public enemy number one, I would say, is Nancy Pelosi, the guy that delivers her ice cream. Did you see that video? We have been warning from day one, this is a devil that everybody should fight. Yeah, right.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell, Tara.
Is that the devil you're talking about? Tedros? Yeah, fucking silly bitch. Just lying to the world. We're very transparent here. Do you know they won't even let us in the labs to see, where it? I saw a guy on TV last night, and he's Chinese, by the way, but he's a Chinese American. He writes books about how China's going to collapse. There's a photo, he said. They took a picture of the labs. China put it up, state-run media, of the lab where.
I've just realized I don't have to do a show anymore at all. All I have to do is put on something good, get Jefferson 33 in here, and just put his stuff on the screen. Fuck the central bank. That's a great start. Fuck the UN. That's a great start. I'll give myself a little credit. Fuck the World Health Organization. That's a great start. I like where this is going. Hit play.
everybody's saying it leaked from. They took pictures. In the picture, you can see a refrigerator. And Mr. Chang, who studied this, says you can see the seals rotting on the side of the refrigerator. The seals that go around the refrigerator door, which might be, again, the way it leaked out into the fucking room and then out the door. But Mr. Tedros, he's just full of poop. All I know is, folks, get a podcast for yourself. Okay? I don't care if you got to put puppets, put your dog on there, whatever. I'm telling you, can you think of a better job? I mean, right now, during the coronavirus, than a podcast. Yes, short order cook in a Chinese kitchen. I wonder how that's going to hurt business after we come out of this. Anybody go to a Chinese restaurant? Not their fault, but I'm just saying, you don't know what you're getting. General Tso's chicken could be fucking, could be turtle balls. It's fucking people. Man, do they eat anything? And again, I'll eat anything myself, but let the turtle die before you start chewing on its belly. It makes me sick. So it's a lot of controversy between whether we should open up America. But you know who's made up his mind? Governor Kemp right here in Georgia. I get proud now when I watch TV and I see a story about Georgia coming across the bottom on the scroll. It's like, we made fucking my state, man. Georgia to allow some shuttered businesses to reopen amid a pandemic, everybody. Brian Kemp outlined plans Monday, he's the governor, to allow some businesses shuttered amid the coronavirus to reopen by the end of the week as he starts to ease restrictions that have ravaged the state's economy to stem the spread of the disease. The governor's orders will allow gyms, thank Christ. I'm turning my shed into a gym. It looks like Mr. T where he worked out, Rocky III, just a shithole, doing pull-ups on a 2x4 and there's rats under my feet when I'm doing squats. Bowling alleys, thank God for that. I mean, Jesus Christ, what do we do about salons? Raz can get his toes done. And some other indoor facilities closed under a shelter in place order to resume operations by this Friday if they comply with social distancing requirements and meet other safety standards. And restaurants, which were banned from in-person dining, will be allowed to reopen on April 27th if they meet guidelines his office will release later this week. Theaters will also be covered by those new standards. Bars and nightclubs will stay shuttered. I am so dying to go to World of...
I don't think Carolyn Hall has ever been to one of my lives. Yo, Carolyn. I'm not really doing a show. I couldn't sleep. Nothing to do. Lockdown. So I'm just playing other people's stuff.
Beer. And just sit at that counter. Oh, they have 30,000 delicious beers. Some are from Austria. They have 80% alcohol. You take 2 sips, it's like you did heroin. Fucking love that place. I don't give a damn about politics, Kemp said. He said he's more concerned about Georgians going broke, worried about whether they can feed their children and make the mortgage payment. The shelter in place, which is set to last through April 30th, remains in effect, though Kemp urged the medically fragile to remain at home through May 13th. Excuse me. In other developments, Kemp said more hospitals will be cleared to resume elective surgeries. Finally, I can get those calves done. And he said Georgia would engage in broader partnership with the higher education system to double down on increasing testing capacity. The Georgia National Guard will also dispatch 10 new strike teams to help administer testing. Kemp urged Georgians to download a free app this week from Augusta University to screen for the disease. How does that work? Raz, you're a tech guy. How do you detect with an app? You stick the phone up your ass, leave it there for a minute, swap the mouthpiece. And the governor, who has wrestled with the idea of banning in-person religious services, said religious leaders can resume them if they adhere to the state's safety policy. So you are religious people. That's good news, eh?
I am not God, and God like me. I am as large as God. He is as small as I. He cannot above me, nor I beneath him. Salacious.
17th century. Governor Kemp in 2020. He was met immediately with criticism from public health experts and others who worried his measures were too aggressive, as opposed to what? Governor Whitmer in Michigan, the guy Governor Murphy in friggin' New Jersey, who has drones flying over your house to see if you're doing the right thing. You guys should be creeped the fuck out. Arresting a guy on a beach by himself. You had the guy in Colorado playing baseball with his little kid and his wife, and they put him in cuffs. Do you see what's happening here? You all shit your pants about the Patriot Act after 9/11. Now you should really be shitting yourself, because some of these things are going to change forever. Where's the ACLU on this? Anyways, if you open up enough, it's almost for certain. Who is saying this? The virus will hit Georgia again, said Dr. Mark Lipsitch, a professor of epidemiology at Harvard's. I can't even talk, too much coffee. Epidemiology at Harvard's T.D. Chan School of. Oh my God, the fucking thing. T.D. Chan. It's a medical school at Harvard, named after a Chinese guy. What the fuck's going on out here? They have schools on college campuses in this country. It's called the School of Confucius, where they played us like a fiddle, man. Nick, you're just a bigot and a racist. Yeah. It's just waiting for more susceptible people and more contacts. That's how this virus works. You know what, Nancy?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I'd say to Dr. Mark Lipschitz, what's the alternative? Huh? Letting these people who can't feed their kids commit suicide? That's what happens. Look at the Great Depression. People lose their shit. Some businesses are never coming back. That's the people you're going to feel. And it really is true. I really do believe if you keep doing this, you do permanent damage to the economy, and people will be committing suicide. Anxieties are through the roof. Not me. I play the piano and the trumpet. I'm fine. $130 Casio. I've touched it 3 times over there. I bought a goddamn Casio. Played the first 3 notes to this fucking Canadian national anthem, and I haven't touched it since. Oh, Canada. Speaking of that, I never did the cover of that mass shooting.
Hit pause. He has to do, meaning the president, whatever Dr. Fauci and the mainstream media say. The fucking MSM is running this crap. They're running the same plays they've been running. I think, Nick Daniels, the mainstream media, they've been running the same plays. Pick out the worst possible result, find a few statistics from whatever could be thrown together quickly, and then repeat it over and over and over and over and over again. You know?
Shooting in Canada, 16 people. Couple days ago. Democrats almost blasted his decision as short-sighted. Stacey Abrams, you remember her? The fat black woman who ran for governor of Georgia and lost, but she wouldn't admit she lost for like a year, kept fucking whining about it. Even now she goes, I think I really won. She was Kemp's opponent in 2018. She called the approach dangerously incompetent. Yeah, and so is overeating and diabetes. That doesn't scare you. Okay, Stacey? Have a yodel and shut your hole. And State Rep B. Nugent in Atlanta urged Georgians to take caution. There's no way I'm getting a haircut or dining at a restaurant, even though I really want to, Stacey Abrams said. Or is that Rep B. Nugent? I guess that's Rep B. There's a woman named B? When's the last woman named B? Aunt B. Andy, I made some apple pie. Andy, I'm a thick ankle dogfish. Those shows are so goddamn funny. Didn't like him as a kid that much. Ever watch Green Acres? And by the way, Eb died in Green Acres. I remember Eb. Tom Lester was his real name. My fucking wife loves him. Got an autographed picture of Eb in her office. So I was laughing when she came home. I go, look who dropped dead. She was more upset that about anything. Yeah, he did. Anyways, this is going to get more Georgians killed, this person said. I don't know who the fuck it is.
You fat, nasty black bitch.
Hey. A week ago, Kemp said it was too early to tell when he would start to nix restrictions, and he maintained that his focus was on boosting testing capacity and preparing for an expected surge in patients. Since then, though, the governor was buoyed by a new forecasting model that suggests Georgia has already passed its peak of daily COVID-19 deaths, though experts warn that more testing is needed to measure the scope of the disease and to isolate future outbreaks. Kemp engaged in talks over the weekend with neighboring governors about forming the same sort of regional compact already in place between states in the Northeast, the Midwest, and the West Coast. I don't know about that. He thinks we've sort of flattened the curve in Georgia, but I don't know. That story we did yesterday, everybody was hoping the summer heat would whack it around. Turns out it has to be like the temperature of the sun before it dies, which is about right in fucking Georgia in July. Jesus Christ, my balls were stuck from my legs from end of May till about September. The chafing was horrendous. Hey guys, you know one of our favorite sponsors, TheDonaldStuff.com is a major sponsor of our show, as you know, and they just lowered their prices on most of their shirts in the Nick DiPaolo collection. I got a collection, like fucking Yves Saint Laurent, Calvin Klein, to under $20. Under $20 right now. Look you can see by the fucking new and improved Tide 1999. Here's a few of the images. Flatten that curve. Policy never looked better. Look at Trump grabbing that ass. There's me with the dumbest look on my face ever, and that's what Self Magazine used for the cover. For the story, I should say. There's Sam Giancana. Go ahead, Rez. There's Trump. Lay done. So yeah, not only are these shirts under $20 today, if you use the promo code Nick, you get another 10% off. Anyway, lots of great stuff on TheDonaldStuff.com. Go there, check out all the gear. Don't forget to use the promo code Nick, N-I-C-K, and we thank them for sponsoring the show. The Twitter King. That must really eat Twitter alive, huh? Because, Twitter's just an anti-Trump, anti-conservative, anti-Republican, and nobody has made Twitter more famous than this guy or used it more effectively. Raz, here's a question for you, and I don't know, you might not see this discussed on Meet the Press or Face the Nation. Can the coronavirus be spread through farts? That's an actual question out there. 2 Australian doctors are weighing in about the spread of the coronavirus down under. Whether it can spread through farts. During Friday's episode of the Australian Broadcasting Corporation's CoronaCast podcast, producer and host Dr. Norman Swan made a cautionary suggestion when it comes to particles of feces set adrift within a fart and the spread of the COVID-19. That's Hillary shitting her pants. That's gross. My wife tried to explain this to me a long time ago, how when somebody farts, there's shit particles in the air. And I said, you're crazy. Turns out, you get doo-doo on your face. Doogie. He says, this is what the doctor says, or whatever Dr. Norman Swan, no bare bottom farting. I told Raz he has to wear underwear now. He likes to run free. Swan advised about posterior pandemic panic in a measured, mildly amused tone. He says, you don't fart close to other people. Yeah, you do. That's when it's funniest. You've never dropped a silent one in an elevator? Jim Norton used to do that, little pig. Would be in an elevator with 10 people, at Sirius Radio. He'd get on, drop just a fucking, and he'd get off on the next floor. And I'd see him with a smirk on his face. He was the most evil fuck. He'd do it on the set of Tough Crowd. Oh my God, just the worst. And then when you called him on it, he'd get this smirk on his face and deny it. What? I didn't. Meanwhile, Australian emergency physician Dr. Andy Tagg also floated the question via Twitter asking, so can the bottom-based emissions of someone with coronavirus be silent and deadly? Oh, isn't he a funny motherfucker? Tagg pondered whether flatulence itself is an aerosol-generating procedure. I think the answer is yes. A recent study, in fact, suggested a post-flush toilet plume, even when you flush a toilet. I read this years ago. Flush a toilet, there's a spray that comes up. That's why I shit in the backyard behind a nice tree. And you know what I do after I shit in the yard? I do this like my dog does. I did that when we were camping. Oh, my wife laughed. Oh, so be careful. You got to wear underwear. That acts as a face mask for your asshole, basically. It's an N95. A recent study, in fact, suggested a post-flush toilet plume could even be cause for concern when it comes to spreading the virus. Aerosol feces, they call it. Plus, scientists have confirmed that fecal oral transmission. That's everybody having a bowl of shit for breakfast? What the fuck is fecal oral? Luckily, I don't eat ass. Fecal oral transmission itself is an issue due to the presence of the virus in poop. That is why health officials in Oregon and the local Applebee's stopped serving their death by chocolate. This is so childish. These are doctors I'm quoting. Don't make fun of me. That is why health officials in Oregon and New York have even cautioned against oral contact with feces. Yeah, I'm always sitting there with a big log in my mouth. What the fuck? What are they talking about?
What the hell's going on out here? What the hell's going on out here?
That's all backed up by Dr. Aaron. Boys, a lot of doctors weighing in on this shit. No pun intended. That's all backed up by Dr. Aaron Glatt, Mount Sinai South Nassau epidemiologist and professor of medicine at the Econ School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. Studies have clearly shown that a significant percentage of COVID-19 patients do have gastrointestinal symptoms alone or in combination with respiratory or other general symptoms at the time of illness. However, there are no published data on whether flatulence alone presents any risk of transmission, although in a clothed person. What's this woman? Is that a woman farting in the picture? Or is she having a heavy day? What's with the red? That fart looks like it smells good. It's cherry blossoms. It would be unlikely to be significant route of transmission. Just don't eat ass, okay? Can you do that till May 15th? Did you see the lady on the bench holding her nose? I guess it's probably her husband, whatever, having his period. I like to thank one-time contributors. If you guys want to contribute to this show,